So we're a few weeks into this crisis, which is basically paralyzing the Quebec Liberal Party. New polling is showing that Liberal voters are losing trust in leader Pablo Rodriguez, but it seems they trust Pablo more than they trust Marwa Risky.
Well, I'm not surprised by that. Partly it may be a name recognition. Partly it might be that her story isn't, super credible. A little bit sketch there. But, I think the really revealing thing about these leadership numbers and these polling numbers is that it is a strict Liberal pay-keys play, right? Like, it's unbelievable how everybody else is on the sidelines. No one else is really affected. It's like statistically insignificant. And so you just see this trading back and forth. And so so these numbers are really bad for two people, I think. They're really bad for Pablo, but they're also really bad for Legault, because he's just like, if you want to have like a big disruption in the political universe, and then it doesn't benefit you at all, if you're the sitting premier, you got to go like, man, I'm cooked. And so in a weird way, one of the things I wonder about is even this polling data say to Legault, you got to push off, man. You got to quit. You got to quit. As for Pablo, it's really tough. He I think is on a clock now, and then I've known him a long time. We've been friends since we were teenagers, but like he's in a role now where he has to pull this thing back together, show that this is a momentary blip, that he can steady this ship. And I think if he hasn't done that by, end of January, February, he's in real trouble.
It's crazy how fast things change, though, right? Because Pablo was all but certain a few months ago to be the next premier of Quebec. The CAQ is faltering, but now looks like perhaps the PQ are the favorites. They're in majority territory based on the most recent polls.
Yeah, and I would just never take to the bank a poll that happens in the middle of a disruptive event. And this is a disruptive event in Quebec politics, right? I mean, like, people don't really know what happened here. They haven't completely sorted out what they think about it. They just know that it's a grenade and it's gone off. And so we'll see. Maybe Pablo can pull it back, and reestablish the Liberals as the, competitive alternative to the pay-keys. But you're right. I mean, the story of the last 18 months, 2 years, is that the pay-keys look like they're on track to win. And, now they just caught a break. And there's nothing in politics that matters more than getting lucky. Getting lucky is what all winners in politics have in common.
Yeah, I mean, that's true in a lot of things. In sports, too. Like, people like to say that that team was dominant. Well, they were lucky because nobody got hurt half the time. And it's the same thing in politics. You didn't get hurt with some sort of strike to your party.
Absolutely. And, and the pay-keys did look like they were facing a real challenge. It sort of felt like a while like they were the presumptive favorites. Then Pablo comes in. People start going, you know what? Maybe we're not completely dedicated to the pay-keys as the alternative. And now this has happened. And you just kind of go, geez, you caught a break here. And so in a weird way, there's also some pressure, modest, because you're in a commanding position, but there's a little bit of pressure on the pay-keys to say, okay, how do we maintain this momentum? Let's not let it be a momentary blip. Let's not be a temporary phenomenon. Got this lead back, got this strong, clear lead back. Let's keep it now. Let's ride this thing to the end of October, because that's what they have to do if they want to bank that majority government.
Let's talk about Mark Miller, because this one's so interesting to me. Language politics never cease to amaze me in this province. So Mark Miller basically said in one of his first scrums, by the way, in his new role as Minister of Culture, that he doesn't really think that the French language is in trouble in Quebec. Now, Francois Legault's reply was hysterical to me. Like, it sounded, I think I spoke to James Benny from the Montreal Gazette earlier, and he compared it to like slam poetry, where, like, quelle honte, the way what a shame, he should be ashamed of himself. I thought Francois Legault's reaction was a little over the top, but obviously language politics is his bread and butter.
Listen, I'm an Anglo from Ontario, okay? So I'm going to tread carefully here, maybe more carefully than Mark should have. But I think you're right. I mean, we were just talking about when you catch a break in politics. We were just talking about getting lucky. And for Legault, one of the rules of getting lucky and catching a break is, you have to play it cool. And so Miller made a mistake, and I like Mark Miller. I think he's wicked smart, and I think he's very, very capable. And so I think it's smart for Carney to bring him back in his cabinet, because politics isn't stuffed with really super capable people. So if you get one, put him on the ice. But this was a mistake. So Legault, I think, should have made Miller pay a price. He should have gone at him, but he went so over the top. He made it about himself, So you and I are having this conversation. And I think most people in Quebec are having a conversation going, now you're kind of going, well, does the premier look desperate? Does he look hungry? Does he look like he's like, oh my God, this is the first cupcake I've had in months. I got to chomp the whole thing down in 2 bites. It looks a little hungry, looks a little desperate. I think he should have played it cooler. And I keep coming back. My number one theme these days is Legault. When you're this far down in the polls, almost everything you do looks desperate. So at least try to not actually look desperate. And then I thought he kind of looked a little desperate with his overreach here.
Yep. Speaking of the cabinet shuffle, in Mark Carney's small cabinet shuffle after Stephen Guilbeault quit, Joel Lightbound took over the role of Quebec lieutenant. What does that mean? I
think it means a lot. I think this is imagine I'll tell you, in Ontario, national politics, everyone's talking about, Mark Miller, old pal of Trudeau's, and what's all that mean? To me, the whole story here is there's going to be a provincial election. Joel Lightbound was a guy who was basically put on the sidelines by the Trudeau guys, and now not only is he back under Carney in cabinet, now he's handed the Quebec lieutenant post, and with a potential Péquiste victory. And so wow, what a bet they're making on this guy. And I do think he's smart. I think he's quite shrewd. And I think he's pretty capable, but it's not like he has, I think of the big Quebec lieutenants from the federal Liberal Party. I think of, Marc Lalonde, and I think about, some of these real, Jean Marchand, I'm going back a million years, but you think about these titans, right? So I think there's a lot of pressure on Lightbound, right? Can you meet this moment? Yeah. Because I think very few people, including Quebecers, know who this guy is. And boy, had they tossed him a hot potato.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott Reid, CTV political analyst and former advisor to Prime Minister Paul Martin. Thank you so much. It was great chatting with you.
Thanks. Have a great night.
The biggest songs in the world. You've heard them countless times. Now, learn the details of how they came to be. Join Ruby Carr for Encore, the stories behind the songs you love. New interviews and newly unearthed archive footage make for a fascinating weekly deep dive. Stream Encore, the stories behind the songs you love on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.